About 2 years ago, I was kind of traveling around different states in the US, and I noticed a lot of places had very similar prices no matter where I went.
It's late 2023, the Phoenix area. Investigators with the State Attorney General's office are looking at apartment rents. They're up 76% since 2016. Something is off. These 4 building rents are 12% higher than others, but they offer similar amenities. They have different landlords, so you'd think they should be competing with one another, but they weren't. The prices were allegedly being set by one entity, an algorithm owned by a company called RealPage.
A lot of places kind of had similar prices, and I thought that was kind of odd. So when I hear about them price fixing, it just does not come to me as a surprise at all. There's so many videos I've seen of people complaining about how exponential the rent has risen in a short amount of time.
So my son graduated from college 6 months ago. And when he graduated, he was going to move back in with us so that he could find a job here in this local area and save up enough money to move out on his own. So it's been about 6 months. He has saved almost every single dime, makes $40,000 a year, which back in my day was sustainable to be able to live. Apparently that's not the case anymore. So we were looking online at Zillow, Google to find apartments and houses within his budget. The only ones that are decent, like he found a studio apartment that's in a nice neighborhood, $1,400 for 485 square feet. That is more than my mortgage. It's not even like glamorous apartments. Just 1-bedroom apartment that has normal square footage is anywhere from $1,300 to $1,700. We live in Montgomery, Alabama. We're not in a big metropolitan area. I don't understand how the housing market has gotten so donkey.
And I remember in college, right? So in college, we had these apartments that were very close to campus. And I think there was like 4 main ones that like the students would go to. And then the one closest to school was obviously the most expensive one. But they're all relatively close distance. But the thing about it is that they still competed with each other. They're all different prices. There's ones like $1,700, $1,500, $1,200, $900, $700. Like they were competing with each other. And then now it's like I'm looking around, even in my own spot where I live, and I'm like, why does it seem like every place is like $2,000? So it's like the only thing that people can really compete on is like the build of the place. But here's the other thing. A lot of places are built the same too. So it's like they're not even trying to compete.
What is RealPage?
So RealPage is a company that operates software that allows landlords to input their data into an algorithm, and then RealPage sets the prices for all of those landlords. This is actually against the law.
Our allegations are that RealPage, in combination with 14 of the largest landlords here in the District of Columbia, are effectively colluding with one another to set rents.
Across America, rent is up 20% since 2020. The Attorney Generals of Arizona and DC are suing RealPage and a host of big landlords, alleging that an algorithmic housing cartel is helping drive up prices.
So personally, I think this sounds like an intelligent use of artificial intelligence. Is a new way to apply new technology to a old industry. But I will say that it does sound like inadvertent, I think inadvertent anyways, price fixing. Essentially, the argument against this company is that they are not influencing the market. They're essentially creating the market because so many of these apartment complexes are using their technology. Personally, as a mom and pop landlord myself, very small level, the way that I price the rentals is that I go online and I look at publicly available market data. I look at Zillow, I look at Rentometer, I look at Facebook Marketplace, et cetera, et cetera. If I want some more private information, I might call the listing and talk to whoever answers the phone. Most of the time it's going to be the landlord himself, or it's going to be a listing agent, and I'll ask them questions. And I then choose a price that's either a little bit above or a little bit below the average market price, and then I adjust it from there till I get someone who I think is a good tenant.
In the pre-RealPage days, landlords would compete with one another.
They played a guessing game with rent prices. Push it too high and people move, leaving landlords hunting for new tenants. It was a delicate balance, a market. And I'm not sure if it was fair, but it wasn't rigged. An algorithm helped change all of that.
We're talking about an algorithm that aggregates otherwise confidential information that the landlords have that ordinarily they would not share with their competitors.
Data like rent prices, lease expiry dates, any deals they offer to tenants.
That allows then the algorithm to spit out a pricing recommendation, all designed to keep the overall market at its highest peak.
The thing I don't get when I do that is what renters are actually paying, because that's a big thing. You'll go on and you'll see on Zillow, this land, like there's all these homes that are similar to yours, and they're all listed at, I don't know, $1,700 a month. But really, are they actually rented at $1,700 a month, or are they rented at $1,650, or are they rented at $1,600? And so you're having a difficult time renting out your place for 17 because everyone else says they are, but they're really renting it for 16. So you get the idea. So what this software pretty much does in my mind is it reduces all the inefficiencies. There's no longer that guessing game of, oh, let's try to see what price works. Now the algorithm tells the landlord or tells a management company, this is the price that works, use this price. And so what that does is it takes those inefficiencies away that used to benefit the renter, because the renter benefited from that. They might get a lower price because this landlord had no idea that this one was renting it for a lower price. So in my mind, yeah, it's gonna raise prices overall, but I don't think it'll raise it too much, because at the end of the day, the market bears what the market can bear.
They are not charging what the market can bear. They are controlling the market. It's leading to the exacerbation of our affordability crisis, our housing crisis here in Arizona.
And that's just my personal experience. I don't know if they're saying, I know in the clip or the video, the woman said that there's a lot of vacant units because the prices are high.
Yeah.
Because people can't afford it, and it's leading to homelessness, but somehow they're still making profits.
What RealPage is telling these landlords and is doing with these landlords is, don't worry about occupancy rates anymore. It doesn't matter really how many people move out of your building, you're still going to grow your revenue over time.
How? Through these coordinated price increases.
In Phoenix alone, we've seen rent increase 76% since 2016. It is almost certain that people were evicted as a result of these price increases, and that some people were made homeless by them.
Which is crazy. I don't even know how that works. Think about this. This is why it's important to have the perfect balance between government and business. Because whenever one of these parties goes too out of control, you end up falling victim to situations like this. Mm-hmm. If there's too much business, then, business tends to do sneaky stuff. You can get monopolies. You can get things that really don't work in consumers' behalf. And that's a problem, because if your consumers can't afford to pay for things in the market, your economy is not going to get going. But at the same time, you don't want to have too much government interference, right? Because it's not a dictatorship. You want freedom. You want to be able to do what you want to do as long as you're paying your bills. So
yeah, free market economy. That's the goal. The goal is to maintain a functioning free market economy, right? So that's what you're describing. So It's funny because you said it's a good balance between government intervention versus
it's a
free
good
market.
handshake.
And I agree with that. And price fixing is not new
at all. They've always been doing this,
right? And what I mean though too is that it's also not new on the other side. There is such thing as rent control. That's price fixing in a sense. I mean, I know it's not technically price fixing, but I mean, it is artificially keeping a certain, I mean, again, it's not the entire market either. It's maybe a certain complex or certain. I used to work with a girl and she was renting an apartment for maybe $300 or $400 less than a lot of her people around her in her building, is because she got a unit that is set based upon your income.
Oh, okay. Dope.
So they have units that are either you have to be below a certain income threshold to qualify for it, or they base the cost of the unit off of a percentage of your income. And I'm not talking about Section 8 or anything like that. I'm talking about people that earn decent money. But because it's so expensive in the area, and not because of this, not because of the RealPage, just because
in general it's a high cost area.
Cost area. Supply and demand. People want to be there because it's close to work. It's close to companies.
Yeah.
So in order for most people to live there, they have to do stuff like that. So that to me is just the opposite version of what's going on here.
Ultimately, I'm going to say it's a good decision that they're going after these people, because if your main consumer base can't afford the basic things in life, like a place to stay, I mean, you're not going to have a great economy, because then they're going to be forced to not spend on things that help the economy go.
The average cost for one person living in America right now is $3,500. What the hell is going on? Oh no, and I'm feeling this. I feel like the last time I went to Starbucks, I got like a $10 drink, like for like some strawberries in it. I swear to God. Guys, I drive a Jetta with a 4-cylinder engine. I paid $50 in gas for regular gas. So I live by myself. I mean, I don't spend a lot of money, yet I'm almost spending $2,000 a month. I haven't gone out shopping in like 6 months. I literally eat the same thing every day, and yet I have to be spending $2,000. Apparently, the average American only makes $56,000 per year. So you're telling me the average American only saves $14,000 a year. And that's if they don't spend it on random BS. So I made this account because, I'm a 20-year-old. I live by myself. I go through all like normal stages that everyone else had to go through, and I just want to record it. But I try doing everything correctly. I don't have a car payment. I don't spend a lot going out, but it's still $2,000 for me.
If someone has to spend all their money on rent and on groceries, how can they spend money on other things in other businesses that people have?
Debt.
Yeah,
That's it. But no, I get your point. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but you gotta think there's some people who don't have credit. As crazy it is.
Yeah, I think I'll say just off what I understand of it, based on my research so far, I'll say that it does sound like it's price fixing inadvertently. So bad decision is, we don't want that. That's not a good thing, obviously. So more information will come out about it, but overall, probably not the best decision. Hence all the lawsuits that they're facing. It's like 30 plus. So.
All right, guys, it's been Bad Decisions. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe.